Alright guys, what is up? Welcome back to game number 6 between Quantic IM and between, of course, mousesports here in the Team Arena Challenge Grand Final set number 2. And this is the final set, and if QIM wins one more game here, they are going to go on and take the first place prize of $6,000. And, you know, how could I forget about the next and actually final player from mousesports? It's Maro! Maro is here playing as the Terran, purple Terran at the top left-hand corner. He's playing, of course, against Horror. And now, I wouldn't say Maro is as good as Thorazine or Hasuabs or Mana, but he's still a very solid and talented player at that. In the beta, guys, he was one of the best Terrans of all time. I remember him taking IEM against Idra with a patented Reaper build. That's his unit. His claim to fame is the Reaper. Since then, he's kind of not been as active. Well, I'm sure he's been as active, but he hasn't been as prominent in the community as some of his other counterparts. But one interesting thing to note here about Maro is he does play two different races. He actually made the switch to Zerg, and he only plays Zerg when he's playing Protoss and Terran. But if he's playing against another Zerg, he will stick with Terran. So I guess that was more confusing than saying he only plays Terran when he plays against Zerg, and he plays Zerg against everything else. That's basically the lowdown here with Maro, and how could I forget about him? So Maro here as the final player for mousesports, and he has got to do an all-kill at this point, which really is not an all-kill. It's just kill 4 players to win the series, because it is 4-1. So everything is on Maro's shoulders here, and we'll have to see if he can perform against Horror, who I believe has taken out 2 of mousesports so far. And I don't know, guys, things are not looking too good for mousesports after that revival all kill, if you call it that. I mean, it was just one of the most spectacular showings from Thorazine ever, but it was a Terran versus Terran fun fest. But at the very least, it was one of the better games I've seen in a while, one of the better series I've seen in a while. And now we'll have to see how things go as Maro is coming out with this SCV after he finished his construction, but he lost one at the front door. He actually lost one to this drone. How did that happen? So a drone actually ended up killing an SCV. You don't see that happen every day at this high level, but it did. And so I think Maro takes a slight disadvantage in this game already, considering he's got all that pressure on his shoulders, considering everything's on the line right here. Losing that first SCV at the front door, all of his teammates watching are probably like, oh man. So we'll have to see what happens here. It looks like he is going to go ahead and get a factory down here, and reactor core coming on the barracks. So most likely here a reactor Hellion opening from Maro. We don't really see him do the patented Reaper build nowadays that much more. Even though Reapers can still be pretty effective, he just kind of has evolved from that, which I agree with. It's kind of a gimmicky way to play Terran, in my opinion. But look at this! Maro could be in a lot of trouble here, because you guys can see that Horror is making a Roach Warren. Now, I don't know if this Roach Warren is purely for defense, just to get a Roach Warren or if he's going to try to go for some kind of all-in again. Judging from the way he's played before, you might think he's going for that kind of all-in, but he isn't saving money this time either. He's not saving money, and he's not saving Larva. So I actually think he's going to play a normal game this time and not try to all-in his opponent, which, you know, makes sense. If you're going to all-in, you know, do your all-ins against Thorazine, the arguably best player on mousesports. You don't necessarily need to all-in here. You could try to play a macro game, but this is a difficult map for Zerg, if you ask me. It's a very small map. It's hard to expand. If you look at it, the Zerg third is right here, and you know, it's just right down below from the Terran main. So if Horror wanted to, an all-in would certainly not be out of the question here. He's got 3 Roaches on the field and a Spine Crawler at the front door. 3 Roaches are going to make their way out right now, and what Horror might be trying to do here is just scare his opponent with these 3 Roaches into thinking some kind of an all-in is coming. At the very least, he's going to be able to force these Hellions back and get map control. And we will see if an overreaction will come out of our Terran player. Only he's a single bunker. So no, I don't think he's going to overreact here. I think he's pretty much well prepared against these 3 Roaches. He just needs to get a couple Marines inside the bunker, and he should be okay. And there's already 4 Hellions back here as well, so these 2 Roaches, although they don't take that much damage from Hellions, with the SCVs constantly repairing them, the Roaches eventually are going to have to back off. One SCV goes down there at the bunker building, not bad at all from Horror, who's actually killed off, I think, a Marine, now a second SCV going down. 4 total in this game. And actually not doing too bad of a job here with these roaches. That was very, very productive. And so now Morrow falling into an even bigger hole than he was before. You know, he was kind of in a trench, and then he was in a ditch. Now he's in just a straight up hole. And we'll see how far this one goes, because he is behind in this game now. But he has a lot of Hellions. We'll have to see if he makes a difference here. But the Hellions, now Hellions running against Roaches, not the best of ideas. These Hellions need to run back. But with Marauder support, now we can see Morrow maybe making an attack happen, or maybe just securing his natural. Let's see what he does here. He could actually give chase to these Roaches. They are so weak at this point that these Hellions might actually just kill off the Roaches. Yes, they will. That's not a sight you see too often. Hellions killing Roaches and the Roaches burning animation. Actually, the burning animation you see all the time against Colossus. What am I saying? But you don't see Hellions killing Roaches too often. And a second Crawler coming up here for Horror, who I think just did a fantastic job with those 3 Roaches, all things considered. That was very cheap harass and very cheap map control. And anytime you can get something like that done with just 3 Roaches, it's definitely well worth it. So now here are those 5 Hellions that were able to push away those Roaches, and it looks like they're going to be joined up by a lot of Hellions. That's a total of 8 Hellions total here. Wow, you know, that's really surprising. To deal against Roaches in the early game and then commit to making that many Hellions is really, really quite a shocker to me. So with this many Roasters on the field, let's see what he tries to do. Now, obviously, Creep Deny is going to be one of them, but will he try to do some kind of a run-by with this many Hellions? No, he drops the Comsat first, so his whole goal here, take out some Creep Tumors, but will he extend that goal into running into the natural? I don't think so. You know, with the hatchery there, 2 Crawlers, and the Queens, that defense looks super solid to any type of Hellion harass, and I think that Morrow now is going to go ahead and back off. Meanwhile, he has went right into the starport, very quick starport, has the bio upgrades coming, and he's going to get the siege, the tech lab down for siege tanks. But he is going to have a lot of medevacs here, and it's quite conceivable with this many medevacs and the bio units and the Hellions already on the field, he could do a massive elevator drop into the main. And I think that's probably what he's going to do, because he's producing the medevacs 2 at a time here, and he really doesn't have that many bio units on the field yet. So you might imagine these medevacs are going to be quickly used to drop some Hellions off into the main. You know, that totally justifies the reason to make the medevacs this earlier on. Otherwise, you know, there's no reason to really make the medevacs this quickly. So we'll have to see whether or not he does just that. But, oh, look at this. Horror already has Mutalisks on the way. So it's going to be very, very difficult for Morrow to do anything about that. If he tries to get medevacs up in there, the Mutalisks are just going to shut that down. And let's see if his anti-air defense is up yet. He has engineering base, he's getting the +1 armor, but he has no missile turrets on the way. He's actually, oh, I thought he was supply blocked there because he's building 4 at a time, but he's not. Huge amount of Zerglings running in here, but the Hellions push that away, and the Mutas have revealed themselves now on the Hellions. So it looks like Morrow is going to go ahead and pull back, and hopefully he's got missile turrets in production. He has 2 coming down right now in the production tab. Those are going to get intercepted right away by those Mutalisks, and he doesn't have that many Marines here. No stim pack quite, or no shields yet. So he can only stim so often. Now he does have medevacs, so that kind of mitigates that, but it looks like he just has barely enough to push these Mutalisks away. And now the shields upgrade has finished, so now those Marines are super scary, and I don't think Horror is going to try to punch in there and do any damage. And for the first time, we actually see Horror playing a macro game against Mousesports. He's not trying to all in. Let's see what he's made of here in the macro game, because Morrow is still in it, guys. You know, granted, he's taken some hits here or there, but if you look at the supply tab, he is right on the heels of the Zerg player. He's not going to let off the gas pedal, and he's got +1/+1 on the way. So those Marines, they're going to get pretty beefy soon with 1 armor, 1 weapon, stim pack, combat shields, and all these medevacs. Going to be very hard for Zerg to deal with that. Oh, the couple of medevacs under attack, though. Definitely feel like Horror had the opportunity to pick off a medevac right there, but he pulled away. Let's see if he can do any damage here. The Marines are in the back. Now the Marines coming into the front, and the Meta is just trying to buy time, it looks like, so that Horror can make some Banelings, and he has a lot of Zerglings here. And about going to have about 8 Banelings as well. No speed yet, so he might want to wait for centrifugal hooks before he does anything. But you know what? Morrow's not attacking. Morrow just pushed out with the intention of setting up the third. And the beauty of this is, not only is it a defensive posture, but at the same time, if you think about it, it's also aggressive because he's right here. He's right here on this map, Xel'Naga Fortress. It's so small, and that's why it favors Terran, I feel like, when it goes to a 3-base situation. Horror has grabbed the third in the middle of the map as well. So, you know, all-out conflict is only a screen away, and it can happen at any point. Now, I like what Horror is doing, leaving a couple of Zerglings down to the south. There's a huge grid of supply depots and barracks he has to work through, though. Although the supply depots are down right now, and it looks like Horror's just going to go for the attack right now. Zerglings surround that tank, and it's a huge battle right now. Both armies getting a great spread against each other, but the Banelings have made their way inside the mineral field, and the SCVs have to run for it. Meanwhile, in the main battle, it looks like the Marines win out, and the Banelings are going to crash! Oh, wow! A bunch of SCVs just go down right there, 22. It's unfortunate that Morrow was unable to split his SCVs right there. He could have kept some alive, but all things considered, even though he lost 22 SCVs, he still has 56 in this game, so he's not out of it yet. He can re-macro very easily with the orbital commands he's got up and running, and he's got so many barracks. Look at how many barracks he's got, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9 barracks total, and some of those have reactors as well. So that's essentially, I don't know, 3, 5. Wow, 5 of them have reactors. So that is a lot of barracks and a lot of Marines pumping out with full upgrades. 2-2 is about to finish, so Morrow can get right back into the thick of things very easily. He's actually sending out a strike force to the bottom right, and there is a hatchery there, so he's gonna strike gold in that situation. Meanwhile, he's gonna lose a refinery. Not good for Morrow, but at this moment in the game, is gas what he really cares about? I don't think so. I think it's really just straight up money, so he can make all these Marines out of all the barracks that he's got. Essentially, I think he's got something like 15 total barracks if you count the reactors as well. And looks like the hatchery was forced to get canceled. At the very least, Horror gets his refunded investment back, and now a little bit cute micro from Horror as he picks off Banelings individually with some target firing. But a brilliant game thus far from our Terran player, not Horror, Morrow. He's just doing an incredible job right now at staying in this game, getting all of his Marines out on the field, and now he's going to make that push. These Marines are so deadly. Look at how many he's got with 2-2, and Morrow's split has been quite impeccable thus far in this game. The Banelings unable to get into the fresh and soft Marines, and now the Marines are just going to go to town. Oh my god, he's got so many Marines, and at this moment in the game, I would imagine that Horror, it might be a good idea for you to go ahead and get some infestors, bro. That's the saying of the month. Get some infestors, bro. You can fungal the Marines, and then the Banelings will have no problem crashing him, but he's got a lot of Banelings here. He might just run through everything. What a huge and brilliant spread by Morrow. Oh my god, I don't know if you guys saw how effective that was, but that many Banelings should have rolled through this Marine army. But Morrow still has a full control group and then some saved up remaining. So Morrow is just doing a great job right now. And here comes the Banelings and Mutas once again. Now once the Banelings are done, the Mutas are going to have a very hard time. But look at Horror, so smart. He goes after the tanks in the back. And now there's no tank support. And it looks like Horror is going to clean up. No! Reinforcements are arriving again. And you guys see the dynamic on this map. On Xel'Naga Fortress, the battles will be relentless until one player submits and calls the other the victor. This is going to be a non-stop, fast action-paced battle here between these two sides, and we'll just have to see who, you know, gets the dance at the end of this match and who is going to fall and lay down. It looks like a medevac going to the bottom right here. 2 roaches are in hot pursuit. Meanwhile, Mutala is trying to find another chink in the armor. They have found the gas for the second time today. They may actually pick off that gas, but like I said before, gas not that devastating here for Morrow. He's got 5, and you know, he's mostly just Marine production. He's not really making too many tanks, 2 at a time. 53 Marines, 6 tanks, so that should be the name of the game for you guys. And here comes the Marines once again. A couple of Banelings have to be diverted down to the bottom, and Morrow not paying attention. Did not split the Marines that time, but it didn't matter. I think even if he had split, he would have lost everything anyways. And look at how many Banelings are being made right now. Wow, that is so many Banelings. And at this point, I would argue, is it even that cost effective to make this many Banelings when there's bunkers, when there's this many siege tanks set up? We'll just have to see. That many Banelings is very costly, and if they do not wipe out this entire army, then I think Horror's in a lot of trouble. He could just end up losing this hatchery. That's not a good situation. He has to run everything in right now, and the Banelings off creep are much, much slower. They are rolling, but they crash into the bunkers, and the Marines, that's what they wanted to hit, were untouched. They went all the way behind the tanks and the bunkers. That was so smart, and the reinforcements are coming in right now. That army has doubled in size, and now Horror is in a lot of trouble. Morrow gets the go-ahead. He spread the Marines out. It's going to be the final defensive stand for Horror. Can he do it or not? No, he's lost all of his Banelings, and now his meter's going to hit the floor. GG calls Horror, and Morrow takes the W. He brings it back. Splendid, spectacular macro. Look at how many barracks he was working off of. I mean, if you pull up the production tab, he wasn't producing Marines here, but at one point I think he was producing almost 15 Marines at once. That's insanity. So well done right there. He was just able to brute force his way through the Zerg player, and he takes the W here, which means, guys, it is not going to be 5-1. It's going to be 4-2. It was originally 4-1, but now it's 4-2, and Morrow for Mousesports is bringing it back. Can he do it or not? Stay tuned, guys. It looks like now that it's 4-2, Game 7 of this best of 9 is underway, but you know, all pressure still on Morrow's shoulders. If he loses anything, if he loses a game, it's over. So stay tuned, guys. This is HG, signing out.